a lot of the background about what we've been doing here in Corinth for the last several years is the work is based on the strategic plan that the council did about 3 years ago. And when I say the council, we had a lot of the advisory boards were involved in that, a lot of residents were involved in that, and then the council finalized it. And so we have 6 broad areas where we focus. 4 are externally focused, 3 are internally focused. So when we talk about attracting quality development, resident engagement, proactive government, and regional cooperation, well, those were the external pieces, and I think those are the items that are the most visible in terms of the work that we're doing. So if I'm going to touch on a few of these areas. The first is here in the commercial and residential development. And much of the work that's going on is creating what we're calling the Agora District. Agora in Greek means gathering place. And so when you look at that term and then the logo down here in the bottom right is the picking up on the Corinthian architecture, again with some Greek roots, so that we're trying to tie that thematically about what's going on. So when we talk about the Agora, that's across the street here from City Hall, is really trying to fill in the development between here and where NCTC is located. So that's really where we're focusing in that area. And so some of the development that's going on, and so, but anyway, the City Hall's down here, you can see on that. So across the street we'll be putting in a park called the Commons. We'll be building Main Street from here back to Walton. North Corinth Street will be rerouted and will come down and parallel the railroad track down to Corinth Parkway. And then the development then will be on the north side of the park. And when we close off, and what we'll do is we'll close off the railroad crossing at Walton and North Corinth Street. You have the two intersections. It's kind of a funky looking crossing. So we'll close that, and then we'll be building a crossing from North Corinth Street across from NCTC over to the frontage road. And so that's how you'll be able to access that, and that'll pick up that rail crossing over in that area. So when we talk about the park across the street, that will have, the primary feature will be a pavilion over in that area. So this is kind of a layout of the park. You can see the pavilion up in the top right-hand corner. There's a playground, an interactive water fountain, and then the boardwalk. So if you look at on the boardwalk, if you're looking there on the one on the right side, and you're standing there looking back at the pavilion, this is the kind of view that you'll have. And so we'll have entertainment in that area. It has a large screen so we can do movies in the park, and then also have concerts and so forth. Immediately behind the park, Wolverine Interest is putting in a mixed-use development which will have some multifamily and about 30,000 square feet of commercial, retail, and restaurant space in that area. And then across the interstate on the other side on Corinth Parkway and I-35, Capital Realty Development will be doing the Parkway District. Again, that will be of some multifamily, a hotel, and restaurants. And the restaurants will be there on the corner at Corinth Parkway and I-35. And they're going to break ground on that by December. Wolverine, that I referenced just a moment ago, will be, they're on target to try to break ground by the end of this year as well. We'll be doing our work around the park. The street development will all be starting up this summer. is what we're anticipating. The Magnolia Center is the development under construction. It's on Lake Sharon and I-35, just immediately north of the Huffines Kia dealer. And so that'll have a retail and restaurant space in that. And then Enterprise Car Rental is under construction, so you've seen that hopefully on I-35, just a little bit north. That's going to be important for us because if you'll remember, we had the election a year ago when you were approved a short-term car rental tax that applies to the car rentals with Enterprise, and that's what's helping to finance the pavilion and the park across the street. And so we're looking for that to be opening a little bit later this year. The Millennium Place has been under construction for a while. That's back behind us, just south a bit. It'll be near Lake Sharon and I-35. The Fairfield Inn opened up on Wednesday of this week. So that's open now. Apartments are there. The wedding venue and some other retail is located in that area as well. The McCaslin property will be multifamily. It will be on Walton over just to the east of NCTC. And again, what we're trying to do is create some density that will support the retail that I think is important to the development and boosting the sales tax revenues for the city. NCTC is in the early stages of a new 10-year master plan for their facility, and the city's working with them to help them expand the campus down to Walton. So all of this begins to blend together. So it'll become more of a seamless kind of development from City Hall up into their campus. In terms of single-family development, this just highlights a little bit about what's going on. And I know that you've seen a lot of the development that's occurring around town. Ashford Park is on Lake Sharon near Park Ridge, and so that's the area on this side of Lake Sharon. Taylor Estates is another subdivision just across the street from Ashford Park. And so that's sitting on more or less the corner of Lake Sharon and Park Ridge. Walton Ridge is a single family. It's over here near NCTC, just on the east side of that. And then the Oaks at Tower Ridge is on Tower Ridge across from Thousand Hills Church. So that's kind of the landmark that I think about when I talk about that subdivision. And then Amherst is under construction. That's down on Park Ridge. Lake Sharon is out off 2499, generally in Valencia. Subdivision is over off 2181. So those are all of active development with homes coming out of the ground. A couple of multifamily projects going on that I didn't reference a moment ago. Timber Ridge are townhomes that are going in on Corinth Parkway between Amity Village and the Boulevard Apartments. So that's generally at Corinth Parkway and Lake Sharon in that area. And then the landmark at Tower Ridge is adjacent to the public safety building on 2181. In terms of just some general government activities, this is one of the most exciting projects I've seen. Is we're working on the broadband, and so you've seen a lot of the discussion on that. The 4 lake cities are working together to bring high-speed broadband into the community. I'm anticipating that the city councils will approve the contract with the provider on May the 11th. and then the construction should start shortly thereafter. They're in the design phase now, and so that we'll be building fiber to the home. Now, today, when you look at the fiber that you have in your home, just generally speaking, what we have in terms of speeds, the upload speed that you have from your provider is about 80 megawatts or megabytes per second, and then the download's about 20 megabytes per second. So when we talk about bringing in the fiber, it would be 1 gigabyte up and down. So it would be 1,000. So we go from 80 to 1,000, and then 20 to 1,000 on that service. All of that should be completed in about 2.5 years from now. So that's the pace that we're on. The cities are working together to build, and what you see in the hashed map here is the ring or the backbone for that system. And so from that ring that goes around and connects all the government facilities, then there'll be extending fiber to all the homes in the community. And we'll be doing a lot of publicity on what that's going to look like, because there'll actually be trenching and putting in the fiber throughout the 4 cities. We'll also be asking you to consider a modification to the city charter. The city charter is what governs the way the city actually operates. Currently, we have 6 council members. 3 are elected every year for 2-year terms, and we'll be asking you to consider changing that to, we'll stay with the 6th council, but go to 3-year terms so that 2 council members are elected every year. And so be an election every year, and then also to create within the charter the position of mayor pro tem. The mayor pro tem is a person that would fill in for the mayor in the event of the mayor's absence, and that doesn't happen very often, but periodically that will occur. Currently, the mayor pro tem position is done by resolution, and this would just actually formalize that position much better than what we have today. And that will be on the ballot on May 6th. So when you go to vote this year, you'll be voting for school board members and on this charter provision. And then just a few of the projects we have within the community. At the community park just down the street here on Corinth Parkway, we've done a significant amount of work on improving the baseball and softball fields and dealing with some of the drainage issue on the soccer fields. That work has been done. The future work will be doing some of the rehabilitation of the practice facilities. We'll also be putting in a dog park in that area. That's being done with a Girl Scout working on her one of her badges in that area. She's done a remarkable job. She's been at this for almost 2 years now, but this is about ready to begin, and so that will be a community-wide dog park. At Meadowview Park, we're bringing in new playground equipment, replacing everything that's there. And next Saturday is when we'd like to install that, and we're seeking volunteers to do that. So we've got a table out here in the lobby, and so if you're free on next Saturday morning and want to be involved in helping put that playground together, it'd be a great way to spend next Saturday morning. So we're looking for volunteers for that, and so we encourage you to consider that. All of you are familiar, or at least to some degree, with the funding from the federal government the cities have received. The American Rescue Plan. We're doing 2 principal things with that. One is generators for the pump stations, the lift stations that are dealing with the water and the wastewater side of the system, and that will be in place as a backup from the events with snow and ice from a year ago. We'll be also are installing some devices to help the operations of the water system and the conservation, and then some of the critical infrastructure that's related to the Emergency Operating Center and some of the computer system to keep that on. That will account for about half of the money. The other half is going to broadband, and so the project I mentioned just a moment ago. Then one of the places where we are spending a lot of time is over the last couple of years we have done a pavement condition inventory. That's the PCI score up there at the top, where we have looked at the conditions of all of the streets in town so we could set priority on the maintenance schedules and what segments need to be replaced, what needs just some I'd call them minor repairs to keep it in good shape. So that helps us set priorities for the way the streets are maintained and the type of maintenance work that we're doing in that area. So we got quite a bit of information on this out here in the lobby as well. And then just some of the capital improvements or the major projects you'll see. Working on with the City of Denton and with TxDOT to do a signal light at Lake Sharon and FM 2499. So if you've pulled out on that, we need that from a safety standpoint. Items 2 and 5 is dealing with the alignment at Lake Sharon and Dobbs. I'm going to just bounce over here for a moment. This is a picture of this. So that Lake Sharon will run underneath I-35 and will continue and will tie back into Corinth Parkway a little further down, so that we'll kind of have more or less an inner loop. The underpass at I-35 in Lake Sharon will look almost identical to what you see out here at I-35 and Corinth Parkway. It'll be that same style of development. And so that has been approved by TxDOT, it's been funded, the design has been done, and they're in the process of buying right-of-way for that. And we're coordinating with them so that we'll be building our part of the Lake Sharon expansion so when that's finished, we're waiting for them to tie in to the work that they're doing. A couple of other projects we will be building an elevated or water tower there on Lake Sharon and I-35. That's probably about 3 to 4 years out. We're looking at the water volume and the pressure needs in that area before we build that. And then we'll be building a roundabout at the intersection of Lake Sharon and Park Ridge. So when we talked about earlier about the development going on in that area, that'll help move traffic through there far more efficiently than anything else. And then the project that has been significant for us is about 4 years ago, FEMA remapped the floodplains within Corinth. And when I say they remapped it here, they've been remapping floodplains all over the country and a whole lot in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so Lynchburg Creek was one of those watersheds and creeks that were remapped, had a significant impact in Amity Village. So a lot of those homes went into the floodplain, had to buy flood insurance. So we have now picked up a grant from FEMA so that we'll be able to divert that water and to bring those houses out of the floodplain. And so I'm anticipating that work will begin late this year or early into 2023.